South Korea's Navy has opened fire towards North Korea after shells from the north fell close to their western sea border. Relations between the two countries have been unstable since an artillery exchange in November last year claimed 4 lives. Let's talk more on this with Professor Dr. Rüdiger Frank from the University of Vienna. Thanks so much for being with us here on RT. Now, could we see a repeat of that Pyongyang Island incident when the north fired shells, killing 4 people, claiming it was responding to provocation? Are we going to see an escalation in tension again?
Well, of course, we all hope that this will not be the case, and information is yet very scattered, so we don't really know exactly what was going on. It's a little bit surprising in the short term because there were hopeful signs of talks in Indonesia between North and South Korea. So we are all a little bit surprised that this is happening now. On the other hand, North Korea's domestic situation is complicated, and they might have to show some force to their population. So we are still struggling to find out what that really means and how this could develop.
Well, the two countries technically remain at war following the 1950 to 53 Korean War. People wonder, of course, will there ever be a peace agreement? And if we do see tensions escalating and things getting worse, what could be the consequences if those two really made matters worse between themselves?
Well, of course, eventually we all think that there's going to be a peace agreement because the current situation is obviously not sustainable. The question is when and under which conditions. And right now North Korea is struggling. They have a succession problem. They have a domestic economy that is really down, also worsened by the recent floodings. And next year they have a big event coming up where they need to show some success to their people. So that is a time where many things are possible, and it's enormously hard to say how this will develop in the short run.
Yeah, could you explain a bit more about the succession problem? Obviously, we've seen Kim Jong-il bringing his son more into the spotlight as his successor. So what can we expect, if any, changes in the future if indeed his son does take power?
Well, so far it's not even clear whether his son will really take power because he has not yet officially been announced as successor. We expect this to take place next year. Even if he is successor, however, it's still not clear what type of successor he will be. Will it be a third-grade leader, or will he be more like a head of a collective like what we see in China? And all those questions are not only asked by us in the West, but also by people in North Korea. It creates a lot of uncertainty and insecurity. And for such a monolithic system as North Korea, such questions and such insecurity is really dangerous.
One issue, of course, that is really isolating North Korea is the potential or perceived nuclear ambitions of the country. How do you read the situation there at the moment? Do you think they'll ever likely give up these ambitions that everybody's suspecting them of having?
Well, I think it's, of course, very possible that North Korea will eventually give up its nuclear ambitions, but for the time being, this is very unlikely. It's about the only thing that they have got to keep them involved with the international community, about the only success that Kim Jong-il can show to his people ever since he took power. The situation is way too tense for North Korea to give up the only bargaining chip that they actually have. So I'd say that in the long run, there are very good chances for a resolution. But right now, what we can do is simply trying to prevent proliferation and a further escalation.
Just briefly on that point then, could it be argued that some countries actually stand to gain from this ongoing tension between the two Koreas? Just briefly.
Well, there is a good chance those who do not want to see any change in a strategic balance in the region would certainly benefit.
Really interesting to hear what you have to say. Thanks so much for your time. Professor Dr. Rüdiger Frank, Chair of East Asian Economy and Society, joining us live there from the University of Vienna. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.